Costuming really matters in public speeches. For example, you might be wondering why your professor has elected to sport his white shirt today rather than the conventional black shirt that has become so familiar in these videos. We have choices that we make, and the choices that we make consciously and unconsciously send all kinds of signals to our audiences and to the different levels of audiences, people in the know and people not in the know. So this week, as you're watching these political election speeches, I want you to be mindful, aware, interested in the costumes, the outfits, the dresses that the speakers have elected to wear. And let that be part of your own preparation for the recordings, the video recordings that you're putting together in weeks ahead, so that you're mindful. Notice it's much more challenging than a right way or a wrong way to dress. There's myriad ways to dress, and we make choices, and we make those choices for reasons. So be mindful of your costume. You know, speakers before an event prepare also by thinking about the costumes of other things. So when I'm thinking of issues about what I'm going to wear, I also want to think about who my audience is with every speech, right? Who will be listening to this? Who am I hoping to connect with and inform and improve with whatever I'm bringing to the table? But event costuming is also, so who is my audience or audiences? Sometimes there's many different ones. Even in a class presentation, who's the audience? Is it your class? Yes. Is it your professor? Yes. And their concerns, their priorities, and their interests may be different. They don't necessarily compete. They may align in lots of ways, but they're different. Professors have different stakes in the game than your colleagues do. What happened to your audience right before your presentation and right after? If you were speaking at the beginning of class, they would have just come in. You're the opening act. Their heads might not even be in the classroom before. Likewise, if you're the fourth or fifth person in a speech, that audience might be exhausted. Is your talk right before lunch? Is everybody hungry? Where are they going to go right after your talk? And being mindful, aware again of that, might encourage you to shorten your speech, to tighten it, to use that information as ways of connecting and showing that you care about the audience, because audiences want to feel cared for. We all want to feel cared for. Lastly, what's the physical space in which you are performing your speech? Do you have control over it like you do for these videos? You get to decide where the camera is going to be, where you stand, how you're going to angle, what the lighting can be like, so we can actually see your face, which reminds me, I should turn this light on. We want full lighting. We don't want to be looking at videos in shadow. So you have control in your home videos. On campus, you don't have as much control. You might be asked to give a speech in the front of your room. But if you do, you have a choice about standing behind the desk and lectern, don't, or stepping out aside so that we can see, the audiences can see your head, your hands, and your toes. Audiences love to have a full body picture of speakers. So if the lectern is there, pull the microphone over and step aside so that they can see you. I know this doesn't make sense, but these lecterns and these things that they put a barrier between us. And unless you have to do it, always better to give the audience a head-to-toe version. In these home videos, you know, you can be up close for the whole video, and I would get really annoyed after 3 minutes of this. You can be so far away that I can barely see you and that the mic doesn't pick up. You can be in a comfortable, stable mid-range. But you guys have noticed, sometimes I've been coming in for emphasis and receding back. I've played around in these videos using the space, taking charge of this calm, guest room background that has become my performance study. I've made all kinds of choices, and you, as a responsible, practiced, reflective, and thoughtful speaker, have the responsibility to be aware of these choices too. Okay, so costume and the event side, these are really good things for you to keep in mind as you're preparing your final weeks of polished and professional videos for our class, and also to be mindful in the speech critique. So the big work this week is to just well, there's two big pieces. The discussion board is probably the most involved. Your discussion board asks you to reflect upon your experience with the election. And I've suggested at least two ways to do this. One, you might just think back, play the movie of the election through this last week. How was it for you? Do tell. And notice that when we do that, that's a kind of research. Reflecting back, playing the movie, choosing the stories and the anecdotes that we decide to share, talking about our interior experience, our conversations. That's a kind of research, a very basic, very human, very fundamental kind of research. Well, last week we introduced another kind of research tool, the critical thinking circle, those questions, those 8 questions. So this discussion board assignment invites you to revisit those critical questions, should you choose, and to think through the last week of the election with them. What's the purpose of this election? What information have we become aware of? What are concepts involved? What are the different points of view that are engaged with? What are the what are some assumptions that we make about elections and presidents and votes that we want to be mindful? Think that should go without even mention. Common sense that might have been playing in the controversies and the conversations and the celebrations and the commiserations of this week. There's a lot of flexibility in the assignments that come ahead about how elaborate you want, how much time you want to spend, how many points you want to earn. So just a reminder about grades this class. You're aiming for 1,000 points. 1,000 points in this class is an A. And you can see your point totals in the grade book, in your own grade book. So you guys are all over the maps. If you've missed an assignment, you didn't get the points. If you've performed poorly on an assignment, you lost some points. If you did a great job, you got full points. The discussion board this week is kind of point heavy. I amped it up. You can get a lot of points with this election review. You can write out your response, and I've offered an extra credit option. You can in addition to make a video version of your experience this week, and those earn extra points, not required, but extra. Those extra points can take you closer to the 1,000. Those extra points can also make up any assignments you've missed or have let slide or so on and so forth. So there's some padding in the class. If everybody did every assignment perfectly, I think it would add up to like maybe 1,200 points by the end of the semester. So, be mindful. Do everything that you can. Keep up. It's a really good thing to do. I'm hoping that these assignments you're finding useful, that they are productive. But if you want to be tactical, if you're going for a B and you need that 850 range, or if you're going to be okay with a C and you're looking for that 700, 750 range of total points, that's your choice. You can let assignments go, you can skip assignments, you can do whatever you need to do to get the grade that you are aiming for in this semester. So that's a little thing. It's a weird point system, but I think it works. I think it's a way of both giving you guys some freedom. There will be some options with our final projects. There will be some options with the assessment and the wrap up of the class as well. So keep your eyes open and ask questions if you need, and let me know if the Blackboard is missing something like a test or a quiz or a discussion board. Those things happen. And have fun. I think you're really going to enjoy the work this week. Okay, guys, off you go. You get to watch Biden and Harris and Trump. Woohoo!